Hey guys, and welcome to the INVAR Technologies podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the manufacturing space. We have an exciting, a very special guest today. It's one of our valued clients over here at INVAR, Mosner Family Brands. We're excited to kind of dive into their story, a little bit about their company. And also we'll have our guest today, Peter Cherubini, diving into also his story, kind of how he got into the industry and just some engaging insights. So we'll go ahead and kind of just kick it off to you. Peter, if you want to just introduce yourself and tell a quick snippet of your story and kind of background prior to working at Mosner.
So my background is very, very far away from the world that I find myself in today. So I was a business major undergrad and left school. I was a strategy consultant for a couple of years. Working from there, I ended up at JP Morgan Chase for 10 years doing internal strategy for them. And then one day in the middle of COVID, I got a phone call from my roommate in college and one of my best friends, roommate also in our mutual move to New York City in our early careers, Seth Mosner, asking kind of like what it would take to drag me over into the meat industry. And we had a few conversations. It seemed very exciting. We talked about where I could potentially add some value. So that's how I ended up here, running finance among some other stuff for the combined companies here. Been a big change, but very exciting. We're growing like crazy, keeps me busy, stressful in a very different way than my prior life, and it's been great.
Yeah, we're talking off camera. You're saying that I have a job title that's VP of Finance, but we definitely do a couple of different other things, and I can respect it. It's what's needed to obviously grow the business, right? And I guess like if you don't mind, kind of just giving a quick background of Mosner Family Brands and kind of maybe a little bit about their inception and kind of just what you guys are growing and doing as a company.
Yeah, so it's a third generation family owned business, started in the 50s. It was by Seth, Ben, Jess. They're the principals of the business now. It was their grandfather. And then Seth's father, Michael Mosner, and uncle Phil Mosner took over, I believe, at some point in the 80s, and just recently has transitioned to the third generation. Historically, the business has been very focused on the veal and lamb space. I believe it really started exclusively kind of as veal, then grew into lamb. And now we're going through this like massive renaissance and transition where we're expanding well beyond sort of those proteins into areas that we see kind of the world going. That started here within this building. It recently expanded very quickly with the acquisition of a plant in New Jersey called Great American Foods. It does something very different than we do here in the Bronx, and we look forward to continue that trend. To add a little color onto the difference between kind of the operations here in the Bronx, you almost want to think about it like the movie Rocky, kind of, where you got the whole carcass, and that's getting broken down into like a steak or a big leg or whatever. You kind of got you got guys in hands with saws, like kind of doing that work downstairs. What we've expanded into with the acquisition that we had in New Jersey, very different operation, much more machine based. We're building things that are ready to go into a retail case. So think about stuff like sausages or hamburgers, meatballs, all of that good stuff. And then we hope to continue to expand our footprint into different parts of that value chain.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely it's very fitting for an Italian to like. I feel like I have family members in the meat industry at some in some points.
Well, believe it or not, like a weird thing about me is I really don't even eat much meat. I'm kind of like, I'll eat some poultry, but I'm not the meat guy. I used to be for sure, but yeah.
I was interested. Well, cool, man. Yeah, it definitely sounds like you guys are doing something cool over there, and I'm excited to kind of see the continuous growth that you guys have as a company. I did want to switch gears a little bit into kind of just your overall experience, working with INVAR. And I know that we've been you guys have been a value client for us for a long time now. And so I'm really curious if you can kind of just maybe dig a little bit into just an overall, if there was any type of direct or indirect cost savings or direct time savings that INVAR really facilitated for yourself or the company, if it would be okay to kind of just dig into those right now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, without really having some of those KPIs at my fingertips, one that I like know exists and can say without a doubt is my time. I mean, it's freed up so much of my time, and Vadim I'm sure he'll see this and get a kick out of it because I guess I say it, and then Mike Mosner, who kind of dealt with this relationship before me, said the same thing independently. Was like, the less we hear about technology or like INVAR, other than when we're talking about getting our contract done, it's almost like the better because we know it's just like it's working and we're not hearing like rumblings from the employees, things are operating, and that's kind of been my experience. So I know intuitively it's just saving a ton of my time. So I can only imagine across the organization when you add that up, what it's doing for us.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess well, I'm curious, like, kind of what were your previous run-ins or kind of the solutions you guys had in place kind of before Invar, and kind of what was maybe frustrating with those.
Oh, it would have been Bootstrap. I mean, I don't think the organization really had an MSP before that, before Invar came on board. So, I can imagine, and again, I've only been here so long, but I can imagine the principles of the business going around and plugging in the computers and setting somebody up when they're a new employee and they probably didn't have an email account until 4 or 5 months after they actually started here. Today, like that's just done you know, before the person shows up. And that's kind of the part of it I observe day to day. Bigger part of it now is kind of the technology that's integrated with our manufacturing steps downstairs, where if something goes wrong at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, that has a real cost for every minute that's down. And, you know, Invar is pretty unique in their ability to really like service us at those hours. It's a special relationship that we've developed with them, and getting us back up and running is like hard dollars when something goes wrong, which it does almost every day, not as a fault of theirs, as a fault of a complex operation going on downstairs.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes total sense. If you had to maybe guess, and as you guys are continuing to grow, like how do you expect kind of Invar helping you out and aiding you guys in that pursuit of growing fast and continuing to scale the company?
Yeah, I'd say there's two big areas. One is just infrastructure. So as part of our growth, there's physical space and equipment and all of that stuff that just needs to be set up well and done quickly. So an example, if we've doubled our square footage in the Bronx over the past year, and very quickly we were able to get all the infrastructure set up needed to immediately utilize those spaces, which is how we get an ROI on them. And then the other big area, and definitely more important in my opinion over time, is helping the organization like grow up and utilize in a smart way the data that we're starting to capture, be it through our manufacturing equipment, our ERP system, right? Like actually bringing business intelligence to an organization that, like most mom and pops, has historically been like, well, this has been my experience today, so like this must be true over the course of an entire year over all these different customers without any like real data, hard numbers, and facts to go behind it. That's the part that like, as kind of like the former analyst and finance nerd, et cetera, that's the part that excites me the most, frankly, because it just helps you make fact-based decisions, which is how we should be doing everything.
100%. I think I always talk to people. If you're making a decision based upon like kind of intuition, you're doing an emotional based decision, right? And it's so nice to be able to have that data, right? And we always say that we love to be able to bring data at people's fingertips, to be able to see it, make those decisions, and then make those, smart decisions when growing the business. Because as you can see, like you're probably getting experience when you're climbing in business and you're going up and up, like the decisions that you make at those levels, they start to really impact it, right? And so to your point, it's different from a mom and pop, right? To when you're actually scaling the business and opening up new stores, opening up new locations, whatever it may be. There's definitely a lot more that goes into that. I don't know if you can touch on exactly why you guys went ahead and went with Invar Technologies over maybe some other MSPs. I don't know if you were there at maybe the decision making process, but if you wanted to maybe touch a little bit on kind of why you chose Invar versus some other people or other companies that you could have gone with.
Yeah, I can touch on that. I mean, the relationship is certainly existed and been long-standing, but with all of our vendors over the course of time, we go out and we do an RFP process and we kind of see what's going on in the market. So I can comment from that perspective. And what ultimately, you know, made INVAR and continues to make INVAR the best solution for us is it's a bespoke relationship, right? Similar to us, they are, a mid-sized company, and some of the things that are unique about our business, they're able to tailor themselves to that are like they're deal breakers for us if others can't do so. I made reference earlier today to the hours that we work, right? Like most of the magic happens here between the hours of 3:30 in the morning and 8 o'clock. There's not many MSPs out there that are able to kind of be there to pick up the phone when something goes wrong and rectify it quickly. And they were able to work that out for us. And then just broadly, the level of service and the fact that we can get in touch with Vadim, pick his brain. He's intimately familiar with our business. He's been here. I mean, those are the reasons that we continue to choose them and plan to going forward.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks so much, Peter, for taking your time out of your day and kind of being able to talk a little bit about your experience working with INVAR. I know that Dean V speaks very highly of you guys over at Mosner. And I just want to say thank you. And I guess we always like to end with kind of like a final question to other people who are maybe listening to this right now. How likely are you to recommend them to work with INVAR? And why should someone that's maybe on the fence debating about whether or not they should either go with us, act right now and go ahead and work with us?
It's for all the reasons I just referenced. You'll go out there, you'll look around. There'll be bigger companies, there'll be smaller companies, but the bespoke nature of it and the ability for Vadim and team to tailor a solution that like fits your business and your business specifically, that's the number one reason that I would recommend.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Peter. Really appreciate your time, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care.
Thanks, Alessandro. See ya.